Godzilla and Kong fighting back and forth, but Kong lands a mean hit on Godzilla, temporarily stunning him. This enrages Godzilla. This ape thinks he can challenge the king, the alpha of the Titans. Godzilla is pissed and he looks to end the fight quickly. Donning an all-fours fighting stance, he quickly overwhelms the ape after launching him into yet another building. Standing above him, he's won the tiring battle. Kong, knowing he's lost, roars back at Godzilla with the remaining energy he has, but this was his final mistake. An already enraged Godzilla, in search of a far more dangerous threat, isn't here to waste his time. His spines start to glow a bright blue, and Kong knows what's coming, and after a couple of seconds, his signature heat ray is dispatched, blowing a hole right through the chest of Kong. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to What If Godzilla Killed Kong in Hong Kong? In today's video, we'll be taking a different approach to the events we're all familiar with that transpired in Godzilla vs. Kong. What we're about to dive into are events that many have thought about. How would Mechagodzilla play in it all? What would Godzilla have done and how he would have performed? And most importantly, what would have happened after the events in Hong Kong? I don't want to keep y'all waiting any longer, so let's dive right in. Godzilla's biggest rival, Ghidorah. He had fought the three-headed Hydra years ago and ended his brief reign of terror over Godzilla's domain. Yet recently, he's detected this same presence. Ghidorah being alive? Impossible. He vaporized him 5 years ago. This didn't matter to Godzilla. Whatever threatened the peace, he would take care of it. After his brief encounter with the other Alpha Titan Kong, he headed straight for the presence of Ghidorah. Lumbering towards the mountain, a bright red beam shoots right out of it, slicing the mountain like a hot knife through butter. Stepping out of the mountain, he can sense Ghidorah, but he's nowhere to be found, rather a fake Ghidorah. A human-made machine. Looking onward, he sees the destruction it's causing, mercilessly stepping on the humans below. Godzilla lets out a brief exhale, tired from his scuffle with Kong. This thing that stands in front of him, he scans the mech up and down. Standing at 400 feet in height and donning a similar weapon of his own, this is going to be a tough fight. Godzilla can feel it. He's low on energy. He let his ego get in the way of keeping the peace, and well, he's about to pay the price. With a laugh that comes from the mech, Ghidorah is ready for round 2. The two exchange roars as they charge into battle. The fight would go on as we saw in GVK. Godzilla is too weak at the time to fight his doppelganger. He's losing. He can't keep up with the much faster opponent, and with the blink of an eye, Godzilla is on the ground. The Big G stares up at Mechagodzilla, and for one of the first times in his life, he's scared. He can't do anything. He's lost. The mech stares over him, grabbing him by the jaw. Godzilla is reminded of how he ended the female Muto all those years ago. He thinks, is this how I'll die? After hundreds of millions of years, a whining sound is heard, gears moving throughout the mech. Godzilla stares down the throat of his supposed rival, the bright red light shining in his eyes. First there was fear, now it's black. Pitch black. The fiery hot red laser is shot into Godzilla's throat. Mechagodzilla has achieved its initial design purpose: to kill Godzilla. Unlike how Walter Simmons intended for humanity to become the top dog again, his creation has a different plan. Ghidorah had planned to terraform the world to his liking, and the only thing that stood in his way was none other than Godzilla himself. Now he stands alone, unmatched. He is the new Alpha. With this new body, how might he change the planet as he so desired? All he'll need is a little bit of help. One thing Godzilla couldn't have known was this new body was able to calculate, having the attack patterns of not only Godzilla, but the other Titans as well. Ghidorah's new mission, follow or die. With the use of Titan frequencies, his call is heard around the globe. Something is calling the Titans to Hong Kong. Okay, so you might be wondering, how is Mechagodzilla capable of doing this? Well, in Godzilla vs. Kong, we see when Mechagodzilla's eyes shine, this is able to send a signal to Godzilla. He also has Titan affecting frequencies already built in. Methuselah, Yamato no Orochi, Scylla, Typhon, the Queen Muto, Rodan, Behemoth, Tiamat, and many others all have awakened. Unlike their previous slumbers, they are called awake so soon. All of the Titans gather, surrounding their new Alpha. His requests: follow his lead. Seeing the corpse of their former Alpha Godzilla, they know he is not one to be messed with. One by one, they fall in line, their allegiance pledged to Mechagodzilla. He commands them to destroy everything in their path. Any Titan that fails to obey should be executed. Monarch, who was unaware of the mech's creation by Apex, is scrambling, wondering what to do. An army of Titans led by an opponent they think to be superior to that of Godzilla. The world as we know it is coming to an end. From continent to continent, Titans from all over the world cause havoc. Death tolls spiking to billions. One Titan Ghidorah took notice of, and it seemed to not be there, was none other than the queen of the monsters herself, Mothra. Unaware of her laying an egg before their clash in Boston, Mothra is still alive. The egg she laid in China has hatched. She quickly makes it to a safe place to begin her metamorphosis. Meanwhile, back at Monarch, the surface is lost. The mech and his army are unmatched. The remnants of Monarch flee to the Hollow Earth. Scattered within, multiple outposts remain. Mechagodzilla has his plan, Monarch has theirs. Meanwhile, back in China, Mothra has transformed into her traditional imago form. Realizing the threat that Mechagodzilla faces, she needs help, some allies. Using one of the many vortexes located throughout the surface, she makes her way to the Hollow Earth in search of the Iwi tribe. Luckily enough, our familiar faces of Eileen Andrews, Bernie, and Gia made it down before the onslaught began. Knowing of the threat above, Gia is prepared to summon Mothra. Back on the surface, Mechagodzilla can sense the signal from the Hollow Earth. Gathering the Titans, they descend below. Knowing how urgent the situation is, there's no time to waste. Gia is ready to summon Mothra. With a glowing yellow light, the Mothra of all Mothras appears. In traditional fashion, our own Mothra bows before her. Despite the presence of two Mothras, they're far from a match for the Titan army. Knowing the danger of this mission, they must fight fire with fire. Our Mothra travels to the subterranean realm in search of help. After searching the volcanic pit, she flies over the area. The great apes are in awe. Landing in the center, Scar King ascends from his throne and jumps down to her. Surprised to see such an angelic Titan, he curiously walks up to her, examining her up and down. Is she here to lead them out of this lair Godzilla cursed him to? She quickly telepathically communicates to Scar King the situation. She knows of his desire to reach the surface. Scar King is far from an angel, but his help is required here. In exchange for his help, he will be set free of his prison and gain access to the surface world. But can she trust him? Scar King, quick to gain any access he can to the surface world, agrees to help for now. Rallying his troops and his most important weapon, the Ice Titan Shimo, they set off, following Mothra back to the Iwi settlement. Back at the Iwi settlement, it's already been vacated, no trace left of anyone even being there. Lucky for them, the barrier is ripped in two, revealing the face of none other than Mechagodzilla staring right through. It's quiet, barren of life, and out of nowhere a gold yellow light is cast upon him and his fellow Titans, knocking him back. The mother is here to buy time, to cause a distraction. Mechagodzilla fires his proton screen, but she's quick to avoid it, weaving left and right. She flies off into the distance with Mechagodzilla in quick pursuit with his army. After what only seemed like minutes of chasing, they stopped. Mechagodzilla has sensed something. 1, 2, 3, the numbers keep rising. Life forces detected. Coming over the horizon, a rival army. A large Titan with the Scar King riding upon her, with his army following quickly behind. Flying in from the background, the two Mothras side by side. A battle for the fate of the world at hands. Mechagodzilla stacked with his army of powerful Titans against the likes of Shimo, Scar King, both Mothras and his army facing off against each other, sizing each other up. Mechagodzilla's army has the sheer power, but the Scar King has the numbers. After a long face-off, Mechagodzilla wastes no time, sending a barrage of missiles. Scar King and Shimo are left only annoyed by the volley, but his malnourished army, some do fall. Quickly taking action, they charge into battle. Mechagodzilla, the Queen Muto, Methuselah, Scylla, Behemoth, Abaddon, Amulek, Baphomet, Bunyip, Mokelem Bembe, Quetzalcoatl, Sekhmet, Tiamat, Typhon, Yamato no Orochi, and other small Titans against the numerous apes, Scar King, Shimo, and the two Mothras. The battle would commence. The army of Scar King presents minimal threat individually, but has strength in numbers. Mechagodzilla, not having battle knowledge of Shimo and Scar King, is going in blind, resorting to his learning algorithms to learn quickly. Left and right, Scar King's army is falling apart. The might of the surface Titans dwarfs that of his army. Despite the massive size difference, Mechagodzilla unleashes his proton scream, slicing in half multiple members of the army. Perhaps Scar King treated his peasants a bit too harshly. In one swoop, the Mothra's combined God Rays send multiple Titans hurling back, but the mech has prepared for this. Lodging his claws into the ground, he braces for impact and charges in with the few Titans that weren't sent flying. Scar King commands Shimo to blast blast the mecha, but Mecha, being familiar with how attacks like this work, is able to take notice of Shimo's crystals lighting blue with energy and utilizes his boosters to run around. Something he also took note of was Scar's command to Shimo. Realizing the Scar King is the means of controlling the beast, he commands his Titans to focus all efforts on dispatching the Scar King. All the Titans disregard the Mothras and remnants of his army and charge into battle once more. While Shimo is extremely large and powerful, they're quick to surround her. With the two Mothras busy trying to hold off the others, the crystal is dislodged from Scar's hand. Scrambling to get it, right as it's within reach, the crystal is stomped on by Mechagodzilla. Scar King looking up at the mech to see him stare and laugh. Turning around, Shimo is dead staring the Scar King. Furious at his enslavement of her, unsure of what to do, Mechagodzilla quickly commands her with his Titan frequencies to dispatch of him. Scar King is frozen solid and Mechagodzilla barrels through him, letting out a roar. With the Scar King defeated, the remnants of his army retreat, leaving nothing but the two Mothras left standing. With Shimo on the mech's side, the fight is hopeless. Mothra fights till the end, knowing they're the last of what could stop the end of the world. While they're powerful together, Shimo's Frostbite Blast grazes a wing and she falls to the ground. Mechagodzilla fires his Proton Scream at the second one, slicing a wing off. With the two incapacitated, they are gruesomely ripped in half by Mechagodzilla personally. At the end of the day, despite the power that Scar King had, paired with the Mothras, the Surface Titan army along with their intelligent leader of Mechagodzilla outweighed them in power. With all of his enemies left dead, the Titans are free to do as they please, roam about the earth and do as they like. Mechagodzilla has won. And wow, what one shift in the timeline does, huh? If Godzilla had killed Kong in Hong Kong, there would be no stopping Mechagodzilla and Ghidorah's plan to take over the world. With our what if out of the way, what did you guys think? Did you enjoy my theory? Do you think something different would have happened? Please let me know, as I plan to make more of these videos, as it's such an interesting thing to make, as it's basically telling your own story. I thank you guys for stopping by this week's video, as it means a lot. For those who haven't seen my community posts, let me explain real quick. I never meant to go on like a hiatus or break from YouTube, as I love making content for you guys and it's genuinely fun to make videos. But with school and my football season back up and running and dealing with some personal things in my life, I rarely have spare time, and I'm sorry for making you guys wait so long. But anyways, I put a lot of effort into creating the story for this, so dropping a like and subscribing would go a long way. I hope you guys enjoyed it, because making this style of content is a lot of fun. And before I head out, make sure to remember what Godzilla told Manila.
Godzilla says that I should learn to fight my own battles, you know.
I created a monster, cause nobody wants to see monster no more. They want shady, I'm top liver. Well, if you want shady, this is what